Hey guys, DT Physique. A bit of a different one today. Um, it's just been one of those days for me where I've been really deep in reflection. Um, I'm not quite sure why. I think it has to do with the fact that as of tomorrow, um, I will no longer be attending my high school, and it's one of those things where like I'm kind of nervous for what's to come because it's uncertain. But it's like it's exciting too. It's certainly exciting. Like I'm gonna get a little bit more control over my life, and it's one of those things where I'm gonna be able to have full sort of responsibility of my time now. And I've sort of just been reflecting all day on like the past few months, because the past few months for me have actually been pretty rough, to say the least. And like that, it's not something that's easy to say because it's so easy just to forget what you should hold appreciation for. Because I could complain about a lot of the things that were happening to me over the past months, but it's one of those things where you need to sort of appreciate what you do have, not what you don't have, and you need to sort of take the time to appreciate the people that are in your life and not the people that you necessarily want to be in your life. And you need to sort of, in a way, become more self-centered. That's what I've learned over the past couple months. It's so important to care about other people, but at the end of the day, it's always going to be yourself that needs to be prioritized. And I'm sort of in, again, a state of reflection right now because it's just been a past few months and it's going to be over tomorrow. Like tomorrow, I'm out of my high school and I'm I'm sort of just in the world now, and I'm in the middle of my gap year, which is what I'm going to be doing. I am going to be continuing to make YouTube videos, and if that doesn't work out, I'm going to go to university. And I don't think that's a bad plan at all. Like, all these guys are saying go to university, half are saying don't go to university, and I'm sort of sitting here. It's just, as a teenager, uh, I see so much opportunity in front of me and so much to take, but it's just so like crazy to think that I could have a plan for 5 years from now and none of it's gonna go the way that I intend. So I want to show this book here. This book is really important to me because this book documents everything, every single thought that has entered my head. It's in here, and it has been in here since August the 8th, 2022. So I've been journalizing almost everything in here because it helps me think more clear and it helps me sort of understand my thoughts more. But the fact of the matter is, the past few months have been so like confusing and out of my control that it doesn't seem beneficiary to even do it because I'm just gonna end up writing down things that I don't really like think about because it's just out of my control. But now I'm sort of in a position where I'm in control again. And it's one of those things where I just feel like no matter what I do, no matter what I commit to, I just can't fail at it. And it's one of those things where I know this time that every single decision I make is only going to be for me. It's going to be for my benefit. It's going to be just me. And I know I'm never going to make a decision again where I sort of put something else in front of me and sort of put others in front of me. I know I'm not going to make that decision if it somehow hurts me in some way and it somehow alters my life like it did with going to the high school I currently go to. And I'm making it obviously sound like it was bad. It wasn't that bad. But it was one of those things. It was certainly taking its toll on me. Getting on the transit every morning, going to school, uh, taking 3 hours a day on the bus. It was so difficult sometimes. Like I'd wake up, go to school, get on the bus, come home. As soon as I get home, I get changed, go to work, come back from work, sleep, do the same thing the next day. And sometimes I wouldn't even be able to like get in the gym and do things I genuinely enjoy. And for me, it's one of those things where it's so difficult to know that I was like powerless in my school because I had a class where the teacher was really good. Teacher was really good, and uh, you just had to put like extra time into this class. You had to go out on your own time to like do marketing for the class. You had to go out and you had to buy things for the class sometimes, and you had to show next level dedication. And since I was taking the bus to school every day, it was really hard for me to manage that. And I really just I loved everything that I learned from that class. I loved being there. It was great for the times that it was great. And it was just it didn't become worth it at the end of the day. I loved that class, but like I don't think I'd do the same thing over again. Knowing the way that things turned out, I wouldn't do it over again. It's one of those things where again, I'm in a really reflective state right now because I'm about to enter a new chapter into my life, and I think it's important to reflect and know what you did right and wrong. And honestly, I can say at this point, like, I'm just your average teenager that he never got into smoking, never got into drinking, never got into any of these bad things. Yet, I see people that do these things, and, like, I feel like they're above me. And I feel like, that these people they're just somehow doing better than me. Or like no matter what I do, it's just not enough. Like if I see, and part of that might have to do with uh, the bullying that was happening to me when I was in elementary school, and the fact that I was like so suppressed to like being socially accepted and having social conversations. At one point, I did go to like a social therapy for this, and it was I don't know. I mean, it didn't help. I found the only way to get better socially was to just be better socially. And I know that sounds like weird to some of you. Uh, Joining things like football and stuff that really got my social skills up. But I think the thing about my high school is that I have like social anxiety, and like there's people in my school that have no idea that I had it. And sometimes the way with like coping it is I'd act like a bit strange. It's not like, I was like completely a weird kid, and I was quite outgoing, but like I find it was a projection of like my nervousness, and I don't know if it got off to some people or not, but it's one of those things where like I was just trying my best to make friends. I was trying my best to be a nice person, but now I realize that getting out of high school, it doesn't matter how nice I would have been to somebody. It doesn't matter how bad I would have been to somebody 4 years ago. Like now, it just doesn't matter. I need to start viewing life more as like, is this thing going to matter in 6 months? Is it going to seriously impact my life in 6 months? Because if it doesn't, then it's not something that's such a big deal. Because I think back to like things that were apparently the biggest deal in my life in grade 10, but like I look back on it now, I'm like, geez, it just wasn't that big of a deal. Why did I take it so seriously? You know, because people care too much. And some people don't care at all, and then there's some people that care too much, and I'm in that category of caring too much. I care way too much. I overanalyze things way too much, and it's one of those things that I've been trying to work on for years now, and it's just for me it's so difficult to like make friends and then keep them and then like cuz in friendship I'm not like the type of guy to have just like such casual friends. I'm more of the type of guy to uh have a small group of friends but be really close with those group of friends. And that's something that's really important to me. Like it's one of those things where like this small group of friends, like I'd do anything for these small group of friends. Like it doesn't matter what happens as long as we're together, we're good. Like we could be rich, we could be poor, just put us in a room together and like it's great. It's a great time. And sometimes I don't appreciate that enough because I look back on times now where, me and my friends are just getting to know each other and I'm like, geez, those were such good times. And then I know like I'm gonna look to now later and be like, those were also good times. And people just they take time for granted. Everybody takes time for granted. We have so much of it and we waste so much of it on doing things like video games that we sort of lose a conscious thought of how much time we're actually putting into things. And it's so difficult for me to like understand like how I'm spending my time because sometimes I think, just going to the gym is enough, but then there's other times where I'm just not satisfied at all. And even though like I've done this transformation, even though I've done the skincare, even though I've done everything I can do, it's one of those things where I'm just not satisfied. It's one of those things where I'm always just looking for room where I can improve, and it's very difficult to find sort of what you need to improve on sometimes. Of course, like all these guys are gonna say, "Oh, make money. Oh, do this. Oh, do this," but like they're so self-focused on making money and going to the gym and stuff like that that they just don't take the time to think and sit there and be like, what's my mental health like? Um, what are my thoughts? What do I actually want out of life? Like these guys, they go on, you see them on their shorts, you see them absolutely everywhere, like preaching their life values, which is good. It's good that people, want to preach their opinions, but then there's so many different opinions that you hear. And it gets a little bit crazy because formulating your own opinion becomes more and more difficult the more and more opinions you hear. But that is honestly such a good thing because you need to critically think in order to have an actual good opinion on something. Learning comes from arguing and learning comes from making mistakes. That is the best teacher. Arguing and learning from your mistakes. And that's constructive argument. That's not a bad argument. A bad argument is when two people are just yelling, their conversation's going nowhere. Eventually someone's going to say something stupid like who asked because they want to put a block in front of them and it's crazy. There's a video on YouTube on that, like why who asked is stupid. And the guy described it really, really well. And he described it a conversation and an argument. It shouldn't be about winning and losing. It should be about questioning and learning. That's what arguments should actually be about. And reflecting and comparing that to high school, I argued with a lot of people. In elementary school, I argued with a lot of people, and I realized that most of the times that I did argue, I just took it for granted because I didn't take those times as learning opportunities. Of course, I'm going to take some of them, most of them as learning opportunities, but really taking the time to think about what arguments are worth it and what arguments are good and constructive to learn from is really important. And this whole high school thing, it's crazy to me that all of it to me now is over. And now I'm sort of like on my own. And honestly, I'm not like scared. But I've never felt more motivated to do things. I have never felt uh, more desire for things. I've never felt more sort of, in a sense, greedy for things. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to think like this, because I haven't just wrapped around my own head yet. Even though I journalize, even though I meditate, even though I do all these things, I don't see myself in the position that most of these guys preach. And that's a huge issue, because these guys preach such good things on self-improvement, but like, it doesn't work for everybody. That's what these guys don't realize. And of course, I'm going to preach the exact same things as them. Meditate, journalize, go on NoFap, go to the gym, again, start lifting weights, stuff like that. Start finding stuff you genuinely enjoy. But most of these guys, like, they do all these things and they still feel like absolute garbage. And it's just the lies that they're feeling great and they're the best version. And it's crazy to me that these guys are constantly preaching this, and it's not actually getting people better. Nobody addresses it. It's crazy. Like, if you look at, like, for example, say Hamza. Like, he's one of the examples. I mean, I have my fitness opinions about him. We're not even going to get into the fitness opinions. Guy has a phenomenal mindset. Guy has a, like, great opinion on self-improvement, and he's really good at relaying information. But he's done some shady things in the past to get people to buy his programs, stuff like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, can you trust these people with your mental health? Like, can you? Like, these people, they live on such a high horse that they sort of get lost in reality. Like, if you look at Hamza, if you look at, say, everybody that preaches, like, mental health, even if you watch someone like Joe Rogan, for example. Joe Rogan, I have my opinions about Joe Rogan. Now, these guys will, again, they'll preach living healthy, they'll preach all these things. You can question if they live by it or not, because I guarantee you most of them are, like, lying about the things that they do. But if they're not lying, then we're looking at, like, a sort of a self-improvement scale. It's how much are you self-improving? How much are you getting yourself into a better position? And is self-improving actually making your mental health better? Here's the thing. Self-improvement isn't always the answer, because there's things in your life that are upsetting, and these things factor into how happy you are overall. It's not just self-improve, self-improve, self-improve. That's all you should be focused on. That's all you should do. I think that everybody should strive to be a better version of themselves, and that's everybody. That's everybody. I'm sick and tired of seeing all these feeds that are saying, men need to be better. Men need to self-improve. Women aren't going to like you if you don't self-improve. Women aren't going to like you unless you're the best version. It's like, to me, that's crazy, because it applies to both. It's a double standard. Now, don't get me wrong. Female beauty is a very powerful tool in this world, but it's not achieved, like, easily. They can be born with it, sure. You can get, like, the miracles, but men can be born with beauty as well. That's the thing that's ticking me off about all these guys, is that they're not focused on, hey, I want everybody to improve. I want everybody to improve. Doesn't matter who you are. I want you to be in the best condition that you can possibly be in. And all these keyboard warriors are just fighting over each other, and it's absolutely crazy, because nobody formulates their own opinions. They just copy what everybody else says. They basically Control V, Control V, Control C, Control V, absolutely everything that they see online, and it's starting to get crazy. Like, you watch guys like Hassan, and you watch guys like Sneeko, Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan. Maybe you watch Destiny, and all these guys that have their, like, opinions about these things, and different opinions. And we're talking about guys that get, like, researched articles, and guys that will get other researched articles, like, and it's become super difficult to formulate your own opinion. I said this in my red pill versus blue pill video, and the reason I'm bringing it up in this video is because it is part of my reflection. Because for me, I believe that everybody should strive to be the best version of themselves, and everybody should formulate their own opinions. And meanwhile, on YouTube, we're getting people that are either preaching this or preaching this. There's nothing in the middle. See, that's the problem with constructive arguments. This isn't constructive arguments. They're just constantly clashing at each other, trying to outprove each other. Stop trying to outprove each other and start trying to learn from each other. Both sides have good arguments. It's crazy to me. Like, these guys saying all these things about men improving, let's apply that to everything else. Everything else. Women, you need to also self-improve. Become the best version of yourself. And make sure you prioritize your mental health. Like, it's one of these things where all of these gurus think that they're just the best, and they're the best at explaining it, and they just shove all of this like propaganda on both sides down your throat. And it's absolutely crazy because you see the aftermath of all of this in the comments section. Like, people just don't understand how important it is to formulate your own opinions, know your own history. Like, we have people that are in comment sections commenting about politics, yet can't name even 5 capitals in this world. That's crazy to me. It's crazy that people don't know their geography, don't know their history, yet they think they can talk politics. It's absolutely crazy to me because these guys will go to their stories and they'll post, and then after they post, they'll be like, "Oh my god, this is so wrong, this is so right, this is, oh my god, support this, support that." Yet they don't know the history of their own country. They don't know the history that has gone into this, and it's absolutely crazy to me that they think that they can come up with an actual justifiable opinion and actual justifiable evidence when they don't know the context themselves. And it's just crazy to me because this is what starts like constructive and non-constructive arguments. And it's just putting me in such a state of reflection because I'm at this point in life where this is me. This is what it's like for a teenager. Like, everything is being shoved at you. All these internet personas are coming at you, and it's one of those things that, honestly, I feel like all teenagers need to do exactly what I did. When I first started my weight loss journey, I took a break from social media. That's the first thing I did. After that, I got my social media back, and then recently, as of now, I stopped all social media except for content creation. This is the only thing I do on social media. I only talk. I only post my gym videos. I only post compilations. I only post things I enjoy. I never view the app. I never go on the app. Because for me, it's one of those things that I know it is toxic to consume. I know it's time consuming, and I know there's way better things to do with my time. You should always be thinking about being a producer instead of a consumer. And that's what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm here with the objective not of getting views, not of getting all these people following me. I just want to educate my audience on my own opinions and bring my own arguments to the table. And hopefully there will be rebuttals and people in the comments, and I'll learn from it. This is one of those things I can learn from. I'm not like saying, I'm 100% right in this, but that's the issue, is that so many people think that they're the only right person in the world, and everything that they say is the right thing, and it's so self-centered now, and it's crazy, and it's getting so much worse with this red versus blue pill movement. It's crazy. And I see all this happening in school. Like, people just can't formulate their own opinions. Everyone expects guidance, and they don't go to find out these things themselves. That's everything I want to say in this video. That's my little rant. That's my reflection. That's what I've been thinking about for the past few weeks and past few months. And yeah, I'm closing off the video here. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.